hope, friends, that you are ready for 3 more reviews because typically, I don't post on Saturday, but I'm having sort of an event of just first impressions. Had some yesterday, and we have more today, and I'm very excited to talk about them. Hello friends, happy Saturday. So very excited that you're here. I really hope that you enjoyed yesterday's video. It was very long and I was so shocked of how much I yapped, but if you watched that video then you know I really enjoyed everything I read. I read Shugo Chara, The Prince's Keeper, and I don't have it out here, but also Delirium. It was a award-winning manga in the Japan International Manga Award, I believe is the full title of that. I don't know if these are award-winning for the ones I'll be talking about today, but these are all shoujo. And so in the order that I read them, I first read Apprentice Nail Artist in a Foreign Land, a manga I never imagined would get picked up in English. We do have an anime that's coming of this. Also, this has an anime ongoing right now, and that's Agents of the Four Seasons Dance of Spring Volume 1. We're so very excited to finally find a used copy of this because I have been on the hunt for probably like 6+ months now. And then the last one is actually a digital title, and that's Watch Out for Watarse on K-Manga. Very excited to talk about all of these, so let's go ahead and jump right in, starting with the Apprentice Nail Artist in a Foreign Land. Before I get in my rambles on this one, because I know I'm gonna yap about this because of how deeply I enjoyed it, so let's go ahead and say what it's about first before I get diving in here. It is about our female lead. Her name is Sara, and she has been isekai'd into this world. She is known as a voyager, and the funny thing is if you were not remarkable in your past life, then you probably will not be remarkable in this one, which is just a crazy thing that's not really part of the blurb, but it's one of my favorite panels in the manga because of how funny it is. But anyway, yeah, she's been isekai'd into this world, and she has been taken on by her master, who is a goblin right here, and he is a nail artist. In this world, depending on how you do your nail art, the nail paint you wear, the designs you have, it actually aids you and gives you magical abilities, more or less. If you want to say, for example, make an explosion, if you say had certain nail art on and had certain materials mixed in that nail art, you could cause an explosion to actually happen. Or if you need something to protect you from getting confused, you could do that too. And so Sara is his apprentice. The thing is though, she is all about the cuteness of the nail art. She really locks in doing nail designs rather than painting them itself. And she finds out that there's so much to this world where you have to gather materials from these creatures to help that happen. We have a very handsome, but who can be very mean wizard who has an even meaner apprentice, as it says, I think like in the blurb. And so it's really Sara just being in this world. And I have to tell you, this is one of the most immersive manga I've ever read with world building. In fact, if you are not a fan of very detailed, where I felt I knew more about this world than I did the female lead at the beginning, you may not like this. I know it's not going to be for everybody. It is very text heavy, but I'm going to be honest and say that's exactly why I gave it 5 stars. I was blown away by the creativity that was going into these nail art. And I mean, like, we're talking, yes, we have the nail art happening, we're seeing it, but it's giving us an actual breakdown. You can't really see it because it's really small. It's not the best one, but we're having this breakdown, this explanation of what materials are going on these nails, what's being used, what the design does. Even more so than that, to mention that she is all about the cuteness of the nail art. She really doesn't care about the function of it, which isn't good for her clients, but she just likes the design of it. And it's interesting because there's an actual contradiction, because the apprentice here of the wizard, he actually tries her nail designs to see how weak they are, and he's saying like, this contradicts this, it's going to make it weaker. And they're like, wow, the wizard is pretty amazing because he's able to still create these really strong magical abilities despite that the nails are actually working against each other. And so she does get in trouble often with her master because he's like, just paint the nails, do what you're supposed to do, don't do these cute little designs. But honestly, the wizard, who's sort of like her #1 client, that is why he likes coming to her, because he enjoys seeing what cute designs she will come up with next. And I will say, in her previous life, she was not a nail artist, okay? She liked doing her nails, and I think it was when she was painting her nails, she was doing gel nails, and I appreciate the explanation about that at the beginning. There's also some explanation too about different when it comes to French tips, because this person, he's a monk, but I forget what his race is. He likes having the French tips, and I like how it explained how there's different ones, also different thing like nail care, a little bit of what you could do like with the cuticles and whatnot. So she was just doing her nails, and that's when she gets isekai'd into this world. I will say too with that, I'm sorry, this video is all over the place. I was very fascinated. You know, we do have often with isekai manga, at least from my experience, where typically the male lead or the female lead, that they will at times miss their homeland, and we will see references to that, some more so than others. But it was interesting because Sarah here doesn't miss Japan. She actually feels bad that she's so comfortable in this new world that she doesn't get homesick and thinking, I want to go back, because Master Reed actually mentions and points out of like, hey, it's been 6 months, you're still here and you haven't disappeared. I'm pretty surprised. And she's like, even I'm so, well, I think internally, even she's like, I'm pretty surprised. But let's go back to the world building. I really enjoyed all of the nail art stuff. I don't know if it gives any context that at one point, probably after my first kiddo was born, about the first 2 years, I was really into nail art. Like I was redoing my nails every single week, would watch videos to do more elaborate designs, was even encouraged and almost did go to school to become a nail tech. So I found that very, very fascinating. This is a very much of a niche manga. I don't think you have to do your nails regularly, even like doing your nails, but I think it did for me. It added like, wow, this is really realistic, but it's in a fantasy setting, and it really felt like it was a love letter to nail artists and how they do nails and how special it is. If there was one thing though with that I'm so upset that Tokyopop did not do, and that is that they did not put those panels that have the nails, they did not put it in color. Look at this. And the only reason I know that these are in colored is because it does have it in the Japanese edition and it has it in the French edition. This page would be so beautiful if we could just see how she did her nail art. What colors did she use? And this is one that talks about a little bit what she used. And what I really like too about this is, as I mentioned, you know, different materials used do different things. And they actually have to go get those materials. When I mentioned about the anti-confusion thing, I was very intrigued of how like right from the start she's having to go out and go hunt to go get these butterflies, and there's something going on where there's just an overwhelming wave of these butterflies, and they warn them when they're out hunting like, hey, don't leave the mercenaries that are with you, the people that are guarding you, also the other nail artists, don't leave the group because these butterflies can cause you to get lost and think you have wandered off very far, whether maybe literally or you just think that you have. Well, unfortunately, that ends up happening to her, despite that she actively had to have protection to do so. Like this was to ward off something, a basket was supposed to help, and then of course, you know, like the net catching. But I feel like with everything that's happening in this world, every decision, everything that is shared is 100% done with intention. There is a meaning behind it. It's not like, well, this is a nail art manga and we just want to see cute nails, which I sort of thought would be something like that. No, again, the world building is massive. We have more than one map. We have met more than one kind of race in this land. I mean, we have the warrior monks, we have the goblins, we have elves, we have humans. It is completely fascinating. And I just truly cannot get enough of that, even if it was a little bit not slower, but because it was very word heavy in the beginning. I didn't feel like I was instantly engaged, but I'm like, this is nothing less in my eyes short of 5 stars, because I'm like, what kind of shoujo manga do we have like this that's willing to give you almost, I want to say pages of information. There's another manga I have read that did. It just sort of info dump. This does not have that, okay? There is a lot of words on page, but it's keeping the story moving. Again, everything is done with intention so you can stay invested in Sarah's journey, but also so you understand that there's so much thought and meaning behind these nails that it's not just for cuteness. And that's part of the protagonist's journey, Sarah's journey of realizing when she sees a real thing during that dangerous moment I was mentioning earlier about the butterflies and whatnot, because we do see a dragon as an FYI, which is pretty cool, but she sees a real experienced moment that was pretty scary of what her cute nail nail art design does compared to Master Reed's, who's putting in the magical abilities to give him very powerful nails, or strong nails, as they say. We're seeing that difference. And so she uses that where she's like, I still want to create cute nails. That's what she really wants to do. But she wants the cute nails to actually be helpful and aid other people and not just be for decoration. That's where we get into more of the plot and we get into the story. But I feel like really this volume has that plot and we're seeing her motivations, but I'm still really invested just in the world itself. I mean, Sara is a great female lead. I really love how there was a moment where we see a flashback where she's like, oh, I've been isekai, I'm gonna be OP, I'm gonna have a harem like they do in modern day manga, and no, that doesn't happen. That leads me back to what I said at the beginning about the guy making the comment of like, you Voyagers coming in thinking you're gonna be remarkable. If you weren't remarkable in your past life, you're not gonna be remarkable here. I said, man, the shade that man was throwing, it made me laugh, okay? It made me laugh. But I found that very unique that she is aware and there's sort of like that breaking of the fourth wall a little bit by the creator. And she's got a good head on her shoulders. She is very naive, but I find that very endearing, I guess would be the right word, because compared to our wizard here, who I just want to say reminds me of Hal from Hal's Moving Castle. He's not like Hal. He does have similarities. He's very flashy. I think that's like the biggest thing that reminds me of him. And I loved it. It was a connection I was eating up. It was perfect, but I do feel they're very different characters. But there is this very whimsiness to him. But he can be pretty mean because when he took joy and satisfaction in Sara, like showing her the different nail use. I love how his apprentice is like, you know, she may never do your nails again because of just how you totally just discouraged her and knocked her down. He's like, what? That's not what I wanted. I just wanted to see what kind of face she would make and basically just make her upset because she's really funny and the amount of expressions that she makes. And so we see where he can be mean, but he can also be really kind. But at the end, I said, you know, I was starting to trust this man. Now I'm a little bit scared of what's to come and how much of a good guy he is. I think I saw somewhere on Baka Updates that this is supposed to be a romance, and I think they're even advertising it like that Tokyo Pop is. I feel like they said it was a shoujo fantasy, so maybe they didn't say romance. I don't know if there's gonna be a romance between them. I might say I wouldn't care if there wasn't. I feel like it'd be a cherry on top. I mean, I'm really here for the truly engaging world building and just all these people, these characters that she's meeting. It was very unique in what I've seen, and it truly feels, I don't see this much exploration and time given to create this world where the reader can just be invested in. You know, not saying I haven't read other series where I'm not invested in the world building and we don't get maps like we do obviously have that, like Señor of the Dawn, but there's just something different when the creator is letting you know about this world, I feel like more intently than the female lead. It makes me sort of sit up and be like, okay, this world is much bigger than just a backdrop, just a setting for our female lead to shine. Just in the sense that it really just didn't feel like she's the protagonist, but I don't know. There was more things at play that had me invested in everything, not just seeing, will she be the #1 nail artist in her world? I'm supporting her dream, I'm supporting her goal, but I'm also here just to see what's going to happen next and what characters we'll meet. I really enjoyed the art. I especially enjoyed seeing everything with the nail art specifically, but I feel like the art itself was very fun. Sara makes a lot of different expressions. Master Reed also does seem to be getting mad. I enjoyed seeing his backstory. Love seeing the wizard's flashiness. He's a really interesting character. I really love the warrior monk though. The warrior monk, he was so precious. This is a really funny expression that she has. She be getting fussed out all the time for trying to do other things, but Reed really does care for her. Oh, there's a floating chair, and that was really cool. I enjoyed seeing that. But the warrior monk, yes, I loved him. He is just this huge guy who has a very soft heart, very, very wonderful character. I hope we see more of him. The apprentice of the wizard, I do hope we see more of him, even though he's angry and mad half the time. He's just an interesting character who really balances Sara out. And I want to say there was one really interesting thing. So you see her eyes, she has rainbow eyes. And apparently, I don't know if it's every Voyager, but when they come into this world, like their eye color changes. I thought that was very fascinating. And I will say too, what's also fascinating is there is just something so cool about seeing men and women both have their nails done, and there's no discrimination, there's no being made fun of. I mean, the Apprentice here, he didn't really like how flashy his nail was to try out this experiment that was happening. Look at his smile, look at his smile. I really, really hope that he stays a good guy, that there's nothing like that bad happens, because I'm telling y'all, that one expression he made, it was a little bit spooked a little bit. I'm like, let everything be okay. Oh, look at this page, look at this page, look at this. This was such a beautiful example of the art. Absolutely wonderful. So as you can see, I really, really, really enjoyed this volume. It stood up to, there hasn't been any hype for it because there's not even like scans or anything. So there wasn't any spoilers in advance that I saw. But I feel like in my mind of when I first heard about this and then really hoping I would really enjoy it, it completely surpassed anything I imagined. I cannot wait to see where the series goes. By far, I'm going to definitely be keeping up with it. And I am nervous though for the anime. Like I'm excited that people will be able to experience the story, but there's so much world building that it does make me worry of how are they going to bring this world to life. I feel like that is something that the creator has a very strong, or like that's one of their strengths when it comes to storytelling. And I don't want that to get cut out because of how much I personally loved it. So if you love world building as well and you want to see that shine, definitely check out this manga. If you like fantasy, different fantasy races and having those interactions, if you don't mind isekai, but it's not focusing on an OP heroine that can do all of the things, but it's just a normal everyday person in a new everyday kind of world that just happens to be a fantasy one where nail art gives people powers. This is one I would highly recommend. I truly cannot wait to read the next volume. Next up is The Agents of the Four Seasons, Dance of Spring. I will admit, this was not my favorite compared to all of the first impression volumes I've done, but I'm going to tell you why. So please stick around, stay with me, because I feel like that's a little bit of a loaded statement, especially when I've seen a lot of love for the anime. So it's about our female lead. This is Lady Hinagiku, and she is the agent of spring, because in this world, the seasons have been not given to humans, but to be like the bringers of that season. It has been passed on to the humans, and they each have guards to help keep them safe. This is Sakura. She is her personal guard, and for 10 years, Spring has been missing. But now Spring is back, and she is going, I guess, across Japan to do this dance and this ritual and bring Spring once again. She is seeing everybody's, not mixed feelings, because everybody's happy to have Spring back because it's just been 3 different seasons. But now that Spring's here, people were like, where was she for the past 10 years? And we see these flashbacks that something horrible must have happened. And so right now I don't know if it focuses on the other seasons, like if they, I know this has a light novel series as well, and it's currently ongoing. The manga is currently ongoing, but tell me why volume 2 and almost all the other volumes of the manga are out of stock. I'm very salty about that because I debated buying volume 2. I didn't get it, and I regret it because now it's like $15 and $16 everywhere else. I'm so mad about it. But anyway, sorry. So yes, so I feel like this is Spring's story and us getting to know her and see how the effects of Spring being back. I felt very conflicted on this one. First off, I don't understand why this is so underrated. The art is beautiful. There were several panels that I just absolutely appreciated. This isn't the first one. It was just what I came to randomly. But I really love the attention to detail and how beautiful all of the characters look. When it comes to the art itself, it was a very engaging read. I often caught myself just stopping to admire several panels, several pages, especially with Spring being here and seeing our girl, seeing her smile was, oh, it was so beautiful. Because at first we know Spring has been missing, but it's really not until you keep reading that you see there was something very, very traumatic that happened to her. And we don't know the full context of it in this volume, but that is where I felt conflicted. I liked the volume as it was. I was not overly hooked. I was not extremely invested. I was invested. I read it a lot faster than I expected to, honestly. But I definitely feel this is a series you have to read more than one volume. I think as a Goodreads reviewer said that it's really setting up everything in this first volume, and it's part of why I'm really upset that volume 2 is so hard to find. I was thankful, again, as I said before, I've been on the lookout for a used volume of this for a while now. I even looked again this morning on a bunch of different used books websites, and it's just not there. You can find the novel easily, but I personally don't have plans to read the novel. I had seen people warn to prepare your heart for this volume, at least the opening, like the first episode of the anime, just the opening in general, because it's not a fluffy story. It's not a happy read. And I knew that going in, at least right now, it's not all happy and sunshine and rainbows. I did know that. But man, seeing the effects on our female lead just from the glimpses we've got, and then we see Winter's just pain and his agony in his heart, I said, man, this is heavy. I shouldn't have been surprised since this is by the same creator as Violet Evergarden, and that's the only anime I've ever watched where I stopped literally almost every single episode. And I could definitely see that really engaging and heartfelt storytelling in this manga. I truly think that even though I haven't read the light novel, I haven't seen the anime, you can really see the care and the time and the attention that this artist really put into this story. I feel there's a lot of heart there, and I feel like saying I'm conflicted on this is really unfair to this series when I went and I looked at some of the previews for the other manga volumes, and you can tell this is going to get more action-packed than it is right now. And it would not be fair of me to say I'm stopping here or I'm dropping it here. I wish I could find a used volume of this because I would continue, but I just don't know if I can bring myself to buy over retail value right now for volume 2 when I don't know how I'm going to feel with the next volume. I like the characters. I've seen this labeled as a romance online. It has the tags. I'm like, where's the romance though? If it's supposed to be between spring and winter, there are some heavy, heavy feelings there. And I did see that there are, I guess, not sure how to finish that since I did read some of the other blurbs of the other volumes because again, I really want to give this series a fair chance. I don't feel it would be my kind of anime due to how heavy it is. I'm very much one of those anime watchers. I like to feel happy when I watch things. I will read sad things in manga, but give me happy when it comes to anime. I don't know if this will have the happiest of endings. Obviously, I'm wanting that because again, I really, especially for Winter, I was just so crushed seeing this man's expressions, believing that or at least I feel it's almost like he's believing that he doesn't deserve happiness. And seeing his dance and what he's saying, but in his mind of what he's saying, really hurt my heart for him a lot. I mean, it hurts too for Spring because I was blown away. I mean, Sakura even asked her questions of if it was on this one's the opening of the next volume, like the preview I saw, how do you not live with any like anger towards Winter? How could you still think of Winter because of the things that happen? And it seems like there's an accident that did go down, but it's a lot more complicated with the people involved and especially when you have feelings involved. So I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure what to do. I honestly wish I knew somebody who did have this manga and I could be like, hey, could you just loan me your volumes for like a month and I'll send them back. I'll pay for shipping both ways. Like just so I could see and read ahead. I know I have gotten several recommendations to read the light novel, but the art is just so beautiful. And whenever I know that a manga is really underrated, I'm like, I really want to help support that manga. I really want to help support it. And I'm very genuinely glad I did finally try this. Even if I didn't quite connect with it the way I was hoping, I don't regret my time trying it. I did find more world building. I don't know why I'm so like hooked on that right now, because I know I mentioned that even yesterday about the Princess Keeper with the magic system in that world. I was very impressed though of how these agents came to be, because I really didn't know why we had humans bringing in spring and winter and summer. I didn't get that when I watched the PV of the anime, and I hadn't really heard anybody say this is why. So hearing the explanation was very fascinating. fascinating to me, and how they did at one time that there were animals who were bringing in the different seasons, and the explanations given of like, well, these animals can't keep doing it for different reasons. Like one of them was great, but then they forgot to do the next year. I'm like, oh, that is a problem. That is a problem. So I liked how there was a very good, solid explanation that I didn't feel was like info dumping or anything like that. So overall, it was a good read. And I feel like I need volume 2. So if you have read this series, specifically the manga, I really would love to know if my guesses, my hypothesis is correct, that this is just setting up the world and it's about to get a lot more intense and going to be more action-packed. Please let me know. I really think that is true, and I am very curious to meet summer as well as I think it'd be fall, but I'm a little nervous because that fall seems like a child, and I'm like, none of the characters so far have had a happy backstory. So I'm like, please let that child be okay. Let that child be okay. So let me know. Overall, I really hope that I can come back at a future later time and say, hey, I got volume 2. And yes, I would have done this series a disservice if I would have just stopped here, because it is good. It has a very interesting setup and the art is just stunning. So if any of those sound good to you, definitely check it out or check out the anime. And if you read the light novel as well and you can offer insight, don't hesitate to let me know. And last but not least, I read the first volume and chapter 5, the beginning of volume 2, because I could not refrain, I couldn't help it, of watch out for Watarse on K-Manga. You can read past chapter 5, just as an FYI. It goes up to chapter 14. I just, for the sake of this video, was trying to stick with volume 1. Shout out to my friend Alex for listening to my rambles last night. Y'all, this was good. This was good. It is in the same magazine as Glasses with a Chance of Delinquent, which we're going to be talking about some manga news video come Monday. Yes, but it's in the same magazine as Glasses, as well as My Girlfriend's Child. There is, oh, and Gazing at the Star Next Door. So those are like the big 3 that are coming to mind right now, which I bring that up because I'm very hopeful we'll get this physically in English at some point, please. Please. Yes, but it is about our female lead. Her name is Nonaka, and she is a new college student who is attending Tokyo. She is going to be living with her comedian brother. He is part of a duo. So there's him, and then our main male lead, Watarase, who is I think they call him, like, when I was looking at the associated titles online, they call him a scumbag, they call him a red flag. I said, whoo. But I think for K-Manga, they just said that he is a playboy, more or less, and he seems very experienced. He loves to tease, and that is exactly what he does to our female lead. And she's just here in Tokyo because she went to a very small school where basically you're with the same class, same students from kindergarten to high school. And she really wants a romance that will sweep her off her feet, and she thought, what better place to do that than Tokyo? Well, that's great, and I support this dream. I support that goal. Till she meets Watarase, finds out they're going to be roommates, and he really, really loves to tease her. And she's starting to feel like he might be her actual first love, and he's sweeping her off her feet, which begins this story. Now, I will say right now, I could see some people not liking this. I did see a little bit of discourse, but try to keep myself out of it because y'all just don't need it. You know, there's too many things going on in the world right now. I just don't need it anyway. But there was some discussion I did see of people saying that they really do feel like this male lead is a walk-in red flag. I don't feel he's a red flag, okay? And shout out to the creator, because when I saw that he stole her first kiss, I was like, buddy, there was no kind of consent here that was happening. She wasn't ready. You was ready. And then it was like, well, why did you kiss her? And there's like this thing that's happening where she's wondering, why did he kiss her? Does he even like her? She's always saying how he's a jerk. And I'm like, girl, I don't blame you on that one. I don't blame you on that one, because I'm like, why did he do that? But then there's moments that show that I genuinely think he cares. And I do feel like chapter 5, in my opinion, does back that up, that he actually genuinely likes her. But I bring that up because there are at least, 3 instances where he does kiss her without consent. So if you are not a fan of, at all, of not having where there's just a lack of consent, I would not necessarily recommend this manga to you. I do feel there's a really great balance. I don't hate him. I don't feel he's a walking red flag. I feel like he's just a very flirty and teasing kind of male lead, and just the way he interacted with the female lead, like the chemistry between them was just so good, and I was so impressed that I would really like this, because I am, personally for me, I really like consent. I think it's important. I love to see it represented in manga. I know it's just fiction, there doesn't have to be, but I love seeing that represented. It's something personally very important to me. But what did I say? And I ain't saying that the man hasn't done no wrong, because he does some wrong, all right? I ain't saying that he's not. But when she says, hey, you need to stop teasing me, I'm not your little romantic comedy thing, stop it. he listens. So I do feel that he is aware of how she is unintentionally, maybe subconsciously responding to him, and that he is aware that she likes him. And I feel that's why he is sort of pushing that envelope with her, but when it comes down to it, he will stop. And that's why I feel ultimately he is not a full-blown red flag, need to be on red alert kind of thing. Again, these are just my thoughts, my opinions on it, but I like both of the characters. There's a lot of great moments and panels of the art just absolutely shining. Nonika is so beautiful. Girl has the most beautifulest eyes, and her clothes, y'all, she's so fashionable. I'm like, girl, you over here saying you may not have enough money for necessities, but I'm like, girl, you dressing really cute. Like, she looked really cute. And I was very happy to know that she was a college student because I'd only ever heard this manga referred to as trash boyfriend. So that was like my only interaction, experience, information I knew about it. So I actually thought that this was, I guess it is an age gap manga. We don't know his age, but I guess it would be an age gap, but they're both over 18, and I was just very pleasantly surprised. I'm like, she's a college student. Like, I really like seeing that because it's been nice getting these college age student manga. I'm here for that. I'm here for that. So I love seeing just how she had a good head on her shoulders, how she is trying her best, and I really I feel bad. I don't want to say I enjoyed seeing our girl struggle, but I feel like she knows, like, hey, he is what seems to be a playboy. He's very attractive. He knows how to work a room. He knows how to get all eyes on him kind of thing. And she's like, you know, he may not be actually serious about me the same way that my heart is more or less skipping a beat about him. And tries to create that distance. And that's where, with our male lead, that I really, really feel he likes her. Because what man is going to go out of the way, what roommate, excuse me, is going to go out of the way, see that you have a cold, come back from their trip, their business trip, to come take care of you, or at least sit with you so you're not alone? What roommate, what guy is going to do that just because they're just being nice? I mean, yes, there probably are, but how he acts, I'm like, there ain't no way. There just ain't no way. There ain't no way. And there was another moment too. I'm forgetting on what it was. It was near the end. I'm pretty sure it was chapter 4. If it was a chapter 4, it was chapter 5, where he makes a comment that he's like, because she meets some other comedians, and he's like, I don't want anybody to steal your laughs from me. I said, okay, bud. So it's moments like that that were really, really interesting, really engaging. Also a moment too when they are hiding and he mentions, he's like, man, this is a super fast heartbeat or something like that. And how it was written, she thought he was talking about her. And she's like, well, yeah, duh, I'm afraid we'll get caught. And he's like, no, I was talking about me, but your heartbeat's racing too. I said, so she's thinking like, well, he's very experienced because he was on a show and they mentioned like a 500 body count if you get my meeting. And she's like, 500? And he's over there saying, yeah, you probably got 2 or 3 boyfriends. And she's like, no, I don't have any. I'm wanting to be mindful. I don't want like a fling. I want a real romance to sweep me off my feet. And just only if she knew it was going to be Watarse. If only she knew it was gonna be him. I don't know what she would do, but it was really great. Everything came together. I love just how the story unfolded. Loved the tension between the main characters. It took all the restraint last night to not read ahead. I don't have any points. Well, right now I have 29 points and I have 8 tickets, which ain't much. And I don't even know if I could read as much as I want to read. I told myself we ain't spending real money on here. I said glass is the only exception right now, but it's really, really hard, especially since K-Manga also got another manga that was a manga digital license win for me. So lots of good stuff. I really enjoyed this. I would definitely recommend it if you're just wanting something fun. That's a great time. You like flirty pale leads. You like where the female lead, she's just wanting a really cute, wonderful romance, and her heart's like, hey, we're gonna like this guy who's probably not gonna give you quite the romance you were expecting and hoping for. And yeah, then it just unfolding from there. It was really great. Really, really hope that eventually we get this physically. Very excited K-Manga got it, that I was able to read it and enjoy it. And as you can see, for the most part, I really enjoyed all of these titles. Again, let me know about Agents of the Four Seasons because I know I need to come back. I know it, y'all. I feel it. And yeah, totally let me know too if you've read any of these, which one sounds most interesting to you. I would love to know. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!